G'day, I'm Adam Gordon, the Profit Seek Detective, and a very warm welcome to this cash optimisation report. A 5-minute interview where we give you some immediate practical tips on how to improve the cash flow and profitability in your business. The lines between traditional marketing and digital marketing have become very blurred. Small businesses are continually told today that they must have a website, that when a person wants to find a product or a supplier, the first thing they do is not go to Yellow Pages anymore, but they Google their need. Very few traditional marketing tactics these days don't refer to or work in tandem with the digital components, but this has brought some complexities. The addition of ever-evolving digital marketing techniques to the marketing mix means that the whole marketing task has become far more complex than ever before. Now that's all very well, but for many of us, the internet is still hidden behind a veil. It's a complex subject and we don't really understand it, and it seems expensive. Unfortunately, many digital professionals like to blind you with science. They use techo terms and not marketing terms that we in business use, such as lead generation, conversion, results, return on investment, the things that matter to small businesses. So many web firms get carried away with technology and being creative. What they're not so flash at is understanding business and marketing. And this is a critical difference. It's about business, not technology. The technology, in the end, is only a means to the end we seek. And today I'm joined by Craig Reardon from the E-Team, who's going to clarify some of these complexities for us. Craig, a very warm welcome.
Good afternoon, thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. Now, for those of you who don't know Craig, and I've been reading his columns quite some years, I'm not sure how long you've been writing those, but I've been reading them for a long time, in Smarter Business. Yep, okay. In addition to being a leading e-business educator to the small business sector, Craig is the founder and director of the independent web services firm, the E-Team, which was established to address the special website and web marketing needs of small and medium businesses. As it approaches its 12th birthday, the E-Team has amassed more than 600 SME clients from across Australia. He's been there in the thick of it, and it's obviously working. Craig's going to discuss 5 ways to save money on your website whilst retaining quality. So, Craig, are you ready?
Absolutely, ready to go. Thanks, Adam.
Okay. Question 1. How do you reduce developer labour and cost when developing a website?
Okay, so the whole website world has evolved since its inception. So it's now been with us 20 years this year in terms of critical mass. The World Wide Web was a few years earlier in terms of being launched onto the education sector, but it took a few years for business and the public to kind of get hold of it. So we see 95 as the year for critical mass as far as the web is concerned. And having evolved from a software industry, the notion was always around you build a website with development labour. So you would have a developer basically put together, they may use a Dreamweaver or one of those softwares, but essentially it was all around the labour involved in creating a website. Some years ago, the smarter developers said, hang on, why do we need to reinvent the wheel every time we have a website? If we had the right tools and the right infrastructure to a website, it should just be adding your content and your design. And this has been going since around what we call the turn of the millennium, the year 2000, around that mark. Some of these hosted website solutions, or they're often called software as a service, came onto the market so that infrastructure all existed. You didn't need to pay a developer to build it. It was already built essentially. You simply, they may be involved in adding a design or a custom design, but essentially you're able to create and maintain your own content. And I'm pleased to say that all of our websites over that 12 years have had that, what's called a content management system. So the ability to add and edit your own content. Yes, at some point you'll need technical help, but the more sophisticated, if you like, that content management system is, the less development time is involved, and that means very, very significant savings.
So when you talk about that, is that what we sometimes refer to as a design template?
Yeah, design, it's kind of gone beyond templates these days, Adam, in that it's now really full-blown websites. So, you think of a template and you think that's a look, but instead it's actually a whole functionality. It's a whole system, a whole website, if you like, that you simply add your content to. So now there are literally dozens of different, what I'd call industry templates that are a brilliant starting point. And, it's pretty much slashed the price of a great website. And these are very, very professional websites. You simply add your content, logo, colour scheme. Again, may need some technical help to do that, but essentially it's absolutely slashed the cost of a professional website in that way. So yeah, more of a website template than just a design template.
Okay, so it looks professional, it reduces the cost, the development cost enormously, and I presume it's much quicker.
Absolutely, yeah. So, obviously your time is important as well. How much time does it take? And there's always, I was thinking earlier, it's a little bit like a marriage. You're marrying your web professional to a degree because you've got a relationship with them. And that, what marriages are like, some can be brilliant and some are great. So you've really got to have a good relationship with your web professional. But I say professional, and you'll note I've said professional, not designer or developer, because really, as you pointed out, it's more around, it has to have a marketing benefit. So my own background is as a marketer, which is why my perspective is quite different to, as you pointed out, a creative or a technical person who are really all around those two aspects and maybe not across the overall business parameters or objectives of the website.
Certainly I've found over the years that, and I guess it's changing because people like you have come on the scene with a marketing background. I've found that techo people's putting themselves up as website designers, knowing absolutely nothing about how to make it really work for business.
And it's absolutely rampant out there, and it's why, there's this misunderstanding out there, if you like, in that if you're techie or technically savvy or good with computers, you're a great web professional. And unfortunately, it's important. Don't get me wrong. I have to stress technicality is very important, but it's part of a wider mix. It's not the be all and end all. And so we find often we have to rescue websites that are started by a well-intentioned nephew or neighbour or family member. And it's like, it's more than just being able to cobble it together. It really needs to be strategic. It needs to have the marketing language and objectives around it. So yeah, look, it's handy to have the help, and perhaps that help is better when the website's actually created. Help with maintaining it and putting new content to the website. That's when that sort of person may be useful. But to actually set it up strategically, yes, you need higher level skills, and technology is just a small part of that.
You wouldn't suggest then that people should do it themselves?
Well, this is the thing, and I again, something I've been thinking about recently. Small business is extraordinarily diverse with its skill set. You've got really strong capabilities in some businesses, and in those cases, yes, DIY is possible. I'm going to send you a diagram which shows all the different elements of the whole pie, if you like, in terms of what skills are required to set up and manage a professional web presence. So to answer your question, some maybe 5% or less could do it entirely in-house, and at the other end of the scale, not much at all, because some people are struggling just to attach something. It's the level of skill is so diverse. I think this is particularly tricky in the small business market. When you're a larger business, you have, specialists within the organisation, and you expect a certain level of expertise when you're undergoing a project. With small business, most of them are very, very good at what they do, in terms of their core business. The technician, if you like, if you take some of that, I think they're called technicians as far as Kiyosaki and some others. They're great at doing their part of the business. It's running the business or the peripheral portfolios within the business that they're not so great at. So everything else becomes an extracurricular activity, if you like, and the web falls into that. So web is part marketing and part technical and part creative as well, as we've discussed. So the ability to cover all those skills is almost impossible.
One of the things that I found, Craig, well, I guess I use the moniker profit leak, someone tossed it to me one day, is that for the very reason you raised, people start a business when they've got good technical skills. Now that might be as a boilermaker, it might be as an accountant, it could be as a lawyer, whatever. They've got good technical skills, they can deliver a good product or service. But so many of them, whether it's a trade-based or professional-based skill, haven't got the management. They've never had the opportunity to develop the management or marketing skills, or in this case, the IT type skills you need to put all this stuff together.
And I think what you say is absolutely correct, and it's so critical to the success of your business. In the early days, it's how much, because if you look at all the roles a business has to play, it's everything from the CEO to the HR to the systems analyst to the cleaner. You start out, if you're just a solo operator, you have to be all of that. If you can't be all of that, then yes, you need help, and you need to bring in help affordably. I've seen some businesses just pull their hair out because it's like, wow, we had no idea there was so much involved. So it's up to each business person to work out. And I've been working on a slogan recently, and it's been around allowing you to do what you do best.
Okay,
So,
yeah, makes sense.
and I think everyone reaches that point where, okay, I've got enough business now, there's money coming in, I can now afford to put together my virtual team, if you like. So your bookkeeper comes into that. You know, we see ourselves as similar to a bookkeeper. We're there all the time, and we provide ongoing service as required. So, you know, basically you'll have your team of experts, and even, you know, and yourself and others, the notion of a virtual CEO, you know, so you've actually got that business expertise coming into the business, but most of all, it's got to be affordable. Otherwise, you'll quickly, you know, have more outgoings than incoming.
You've used the term before, or come across customer engagement magnets. What are they, and how do you use them?
Okay, so the way I see it, and this is a marketing 101 thing, wherever you have a customer, you've got to ensure they come back. And this is around the lifetime value of the customer, not a once-off. They've come into the shop or they've used your service, you never see them again. As you probably have explained in the past, you know, the notion of the lifetime value is critical, because you're saving on remarketing to those people. I think there's an 80-20 rule, or even more, around the cost of, I think it's 10% of the cost of going, you know, marketing to an existing customer versus a new customer. So it's important to be able to engage customers so that they're with you as seamlessly as possible. We don't have time to call them every week to see how they're going. Some sales organisations do. Most of us in small business don't have that luxury. So we've got to find ways of keeping in touch. And so for us small businesses, that could be email, it could be on your Facebook page, it could be LinkedIn. So the more of those magnets you have, the more the likelihood of continuing your relationship with that customer. It only takes a post on one of those social networks or an email in your inbox to trigger, yes, I must get in touch with Craig. That's exactly what I meant to do. Thank you for reminding me. So a reminder that you're there. And you know what? When I've got suppliers I know I will need in future, I welcome that kind of engagement, because I know that I don't have time to keep up with everything they're doing. But an email and a newsletter every month or however often, brilliant. It gets me, yes, I know they're there when I need them. It's probably when you stop that engagement that you lose the customer. So it's that notion of putting regular feelers, if you like, out there so that they can see that you're interested, and you've got, and this is where the notion of valuable content comes in as well. And obviously that's worked in your own case. You've seen my content.
That's right.
So, and customers feel the same way. So, and a lot of people say, well, how much should I give away? It's really as much as possible. You know, you've got to be generous with what you're giving away. They've got to be real and tangible, such as this very program. Real valuable content that people value. Then when they're ready, when they do get to that point when they can afford some help, then, you know, you're the first person they think of.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. A final question. What is meant by, in this world of online marketing, etc., what is meant by extensibility?
Extensibility, it's a great question, and it's one that most small business owners need to know, but they probably know it more as future proofing. Proofing is when you get a service or a technology, you don't want surprises down the track. And unfortunately with websites and web marketing and so on, I guess the ongoing and viral nature of it means there's always new stuff to do. But I think websites are a great case in point, in that, you know, I know one small business owner not far from where I am, and you know, she was given she'd had her website built, and she wanted to change her contact details, and she wanted to add a blog. Now, the web professional that she went to, we're going to charge her $2,500 for those two, what we would consider very minor things to do. And the reason for that is they hadn't built an extensible website. And not only that, they hadn't included a content management system at all. So the way we see it, we always include a content management system, because at some point the business will need it, even if they don't know it yet. So in that way, our websites are very, very extensible, and that's something we pride ourselves on. In the case of that person, I mean, it would have taken half an hour for us to add those two bits. And the first one she wouldn't have needed anyway. Why? Because she had a content management system that she could change her own contact details. And she would have had training from us as well. So that's the difference between an extensible professional, if you like, or an extensible website in her case, versus one that there's all these surprises down the track. And it's really critical. Your first website expense is actually not the end of it. It's really just the start of it. And this is where it's really tricky. Small businesses don't know what they're up for in future. How you measure that, you've just got to get in and do your homework, get different quotes, and really try and nail what the future costs might be. What are your future development costs? What am I likely to need in future? A good web professional will go through all that at the very start and build an extensible platform so that you can easily add e-commerce, forms, blogs, whatever you need to in future. It's a really important point, and you can save a fortune, I won't say a fortune, a small fortune at least, by having a very extensible website and a professional who understands how your business is going to grow.
I think that's a really good point, and I like that some of the examples you've given, because in fact I've got an old client from some years ago who put up a website because he definitely needed one. The people who developed it are no longer in business. He needs to change his post office box address, and he can't.
Yeah.
And that's
and I've seen that frustration time and time again. I mean, really, a good content management system kind of looks, at the page level, it kind of looks like a Word document. So most small business owners can use a Word document, or at least they've got someone in the family or someone who can use a Word document. And that's where this technical skill is useful at that point. So it's always good to have those technical people around you, but maybe not to build or strategize your digital presence, if you like, but just to be there as support. And, I guess it's a symptom of an unregulated industry. I mean, that, you just don't know what you're getting. You don't know what the professional is, but, they really need to be technical, creative, marketing savvy, content savvy, and the list goes on. Do they know SEO? Do they know about all search engine optimization? Do they know about engagement hooks and all these things? So just coming back to that point, just being good with computers just isn't enough these days.
Craig, that's really useful. I'm sure our viewers will have things they can take away from that. If somebody wanted to contact you, how would they do that? Where would they go? So
just the website, the eteam.com.au, like the A-team, but without the side birds.
Right.
.com.au, and all the information is there, including those very important customer engagement hooks.
Excellent. Craig, thank you very much. As I say, I'm sure people will find that very useful.
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Thank you.